What was going on? Wasn't it the Divine General? Hanju was surprised. This had exceeded his expectations. If Feng Yang became the Heavenly Emperor, it would be even harder for the hidden sect and the Heavenly Court to sever ties. The Heavenly Emperor wanted to tie him to them? The Heavenly Emperor said, the Heavenly Court needs a new Heavenly Emperor. It would be best if he was a weak puppet that can make the other factions let down their guard. I will stay behind the scenes and continue to support the Heavenly Court. The reason why the Heavenly Court has always been troubled internally and externally is that I have always been in the open. Oh, you actually know that? Hanju wanted to retort, but he held back. Puzzled, he asked, you're only giving way. How can the enemy relax? I will fake my death. Who will kill you? Hanju had a bad feeling. Dark Forbidden Lord. Hanju almost cursed. Why is it me again? Why am I taking the blame? Hanju suppressed his anger and asked, won't this benefit the Dark Forbidden Lord? Too many mighty figures have died in his hands. I want to support the Dark Forbidden Lord. The Heavenly Emperor's tone was filled with pride. Hanju was speechless. He didn't dare to speak for the Dark Forbidden Lord. He was afraid of exposing himself. Thus, he could only agree. The Heavenly Emperor said, I'm telling you to be at ease lest you worry after knowing that I've died. I understand. Be careful, Your Majesty. His divine sense was severed. Hanju put down the Heavenly Dao token and fell into endless worry. He didn't want to enter the calamity, but it was fate. Although Hanju was cautious and even timid, no matter who threatened his life, he would not be merciful. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan was prepared to slaughter the world. This would definitely threaten him. Although Hanju had already hidden in the Dark Forbidden Zone, his disciples and Dao companions were still in the immortal world. In addition, the myriad worlds were gone. Who could guarantee that Jade Emperor Zhou Yan would not target the Dark Forbidden Zone? After slaughtering all living beings, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's cultivation level would definitely increase. The entire providence of the Heavenly Dao would be injected into his body, so how could he not be strong? He had to kill Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Hanju's eyes became firm. But before that, he had to become a Zenith Heaven cultivator first. Then, Hanju closed his eyes and continued cultivating. In the dark and mysterious universe, a huge sun burned. There was a figure on the surface of the sun, like sand. It was extremely tiny. He was wrapped in chains and could not break free. This person was Zhou Fan. He was naked and his muscles were arched. His face was sinister. He endured unimaginable torture. Di Lantian's voice suddenly sounded, have you thought it through? Zhou Fan roared, get lost. I won't accept you. Di Lantian smiled teasingly. It's very simple for me to kill you. With a breath, you will die. Your fate is rough. Are you really willing to let go of everything you've worked so hard for? Zhou Fan's eyes turned red as he cursed, what do you know? I'm fighting for dignity. Di Lantian was silent. At this moment, the true sun flame on the sun increased in intensity and burned Zhou Fan, causing him to roar in pain. There was no fear in Zhou Fan's eyes, only endless anger. For some reason, he suddenly thought of Hanju. If it was Hanju, would he submit? No! Hanju was a very determined person. In the past, no one could shake Hanju's will. In the past, he thought that Hanju was only timid. Later, when an immortal descended into the mortal world and cleaned up the mortal world, Hanju stood up. At that moment, he understood something. Hanju was never timid. He only had his own ideals. I can't let him look down on me. I still want to surpass him. Zhou Fan gritted his teeth as he thought. Strange red patterns appeared on his body, and he began to absorb the true sun flame. Time flew. 40 years passed. Hanju had been cultivating in seclusion and attempting to reach the sixth mystic divine origin. Until this day. Dark Forbidden Lord, you cursed the Heavenly Court and harmed me. I'm willing to curse you with the providence of the Heavenly Emperor. Even if I die, I will not hesitate." The Heavenly Emperor's voice suddenly sounded, his tone filled with anger. Hanju couldn't help but sigh. What a good actor. He saw an email. "Your good friend Heavenly Emperor died. Fortunately, he left a trace of his soul in the supreme treasure." A big shot was a big shot, indeed. He managed to deceive everyone. Hanju guessed that there was probably going to be a golden rain again in the myriad worlds and the phenomenon of zenith heaven dying. Soon, Hanju saw another email. He had really become the Heavenly Emperor. Hanju had mixed emotions. He didn't expect the next Heavenly Emperor to be Fang Liang. In his opinion, it would be either the Divine General or Hao Tian. Could it be that the Divine General had been severely injured not long ago? Hanju didn't think too much about it. After confirming that the Heavenly Emperor's portrait was still there, he continued cultivating. At the same time, everyone from the hidden sect was also discussing this matter. The death of the Heavenly Emperor had too great an impact. It also involved the Dark Forbidden Lord. This Dark Forbidden Lord is too strong. Does he want to challenge the entire immortal world alone? The Black Hell Chicken shouted. Murongchi sighed. The Heavenly Emperor is very strong. The Dark Forbidden Lord is indeed not simple. Liao asked, could he be acting? Is he trying to avoid danger? Chu Shuren said, not really. If he acts like this, Heavenly Court's providence will also decrease. Aren't they afraid of being kicked by the enemy? The others were also discussing and had different opinions. Hanju had made up his mind to cultivate, so he didn't pay attention to the commotion in the immortal world. He didn't even visit Fang Liang in his dreams. Fang Liang's unwillingness to return had already indicated his will. Even if Fang Liang died outside, Hanju wouldn't care. He didn't owe Fang Liang anything. On the contrary, the person he saved the most was Fang Liang. He was even more troublesome than women. If not for Hanju, Fang Liang would have died countless times already. About 17 years passed. Hanju, who was cultivating, was suddenly woken up. Someone was summoning him from the chaotic domain. Hanju thought for a moment and still decided to meet Dao Sovereign. After not seeing him for so many years, was he going to give him another opportunity? Arriving in the dark chaotic domain, Hanju saw Dao Sovereign's figure. The two of them couldn't see each other clearly. Apart from Dao Sovereign, there was another figure. A newcomer? Dao Sovereign said, this is a fellow Taoist who has just awakened his chaotic physique. He's from the human race. Hanju sized up this figure. He couldn't tell if it was male or female, nor could he see its true appearance. Hanju nodded slightly and didn't say anything. The human prodigy did not seem to be good with words. He did not say a word. This time, Dao Sovereign said, could it be another opportunity? Hanju interrupted him and asked. Dao Sovereign was embarrassed. Hanju's eyelids twitched. Really? He directly left the chaotic domain. Dao Sovereign fell silent. The human prodigy couldn't help but say, he isn't giving you face? Who is he? He's too arrogant. Dao Sovereign coughed and said, I looked for him twice before, but he rejected me both times. In the end, I still had to rely on him to escape. He thought that all my opportunities meant danger. The human prodigy was silent. After a long while, the human prodigy said, sorry, Brother Dao. I'm not going, either. Dao Sovereign. He coughed and said, there won't be any danger this time. What if there is? We can use the chaotic domain to let that fellow Taoist save us. Are you serious? He had to understand it first. If it was an enemy, he had to kill them as soon as possible. If it was not an enemy, he could stay alert in the future and not offend them easily. 80 million years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. It was only 80 million. It seemed that this fellow was not strong. At most, he was at the deity realm. A line of words appeared in front of Hanju. Zhao Shenyuan, 3 mystic divine origin, descendant of the human emperor, disciple of a sage. When he was born, he fused with the soul of a human emperor. After being modified by the human race, he developed a chaotic physique. He has great providence and is destined to be the human emperor. Disciple of a sage. His background was not simple. It seemed that this fellow would become the big shot of the next era. Hanju thought silently and didn't feel anything special. 3 mystic divine origin was too average. As long as one's cultivation was weaker than his, it was impossible to surpass him. After cultivating until now, Hanju still had this confidence. What was the chaotic physique? He had the primordial physique. It was very difficult to compare to big shots in terms of strength. But in terms of potential, what was there to be afraid of? In the same realm, Hanju had the fastest potential and cultivation speed. This was unless the heavenly Tao opened a back door for them. Then, Hanju closed his eyes and continued cultivating. He had to reach the 6th mystic divine origin within 300 years before he could break through to the zenith heaven realm. On the other side, the situation in the immortal world changed. The death of the heavenly emperor caused turmoil in the heavenly court. Many immortals and gods betrayed the court. After so many years, the new heavenly emperor Fang Liang became a joke because he was only an immortal emperor. For a time, more and more living beings looked down on the heavenly court. The dark forbidden lord became a hot topic of discussion in the heavens again. It lasted for a long time. 17 years was a long time for the mortal world, but it was very short in the immortal world. Fang Liang had just taken over and was troubled about how to be a good heavenly emperor. Numinous Palace. The immortals gathered and looked at Fang Liang, who was sitting on the emperor's throne. He had already put on the heavenly emperor's robe, and his temperament had become oppressive. Li Daokong, Li Xianliu, Ji Xianshen, Huang Jihao, the divine general, the heavenly god general, the martial god general, and so on stood hundreds of figures in the hall. Ji Xianshen stared at Fang Liang in encouragement. Fang Liang slowly said, "This is the first time I'm an emperor, and I'm here to face the calamity. From now on, I still have to discuss everything with you immortals. However, there's one thing. The heavenly court will always be the heavenly Tao's law enforcers. It will always be my duty to protect all living beings." Only the 2 disciples of the human school did not kneel. Previously, when they faced the heavenly emperor, they did not kneel. After all, they were not from the heavenly court and were only helping them. Now, the heavenly court should stabilize its current territory and stop fighting the humans for the time being. The immortals and gods should protect the humans. No matter what reason, we shouldn't be enemies with the entire human race. The immortals are not tyrants or butchers. Fang Liang continued, his words causing a commotion. Battling with the humans was the order of the previous heavenly emperor. Fang Liang had just ascended the throne and immediately changed the policy. It seemed that he was not easy to deal with. Li Daokong smiled. It was unknown what he was thinking, but many immortals looked at him. In the war against the humans, Li Daokong was the first supporter. "I think it's fine. I've already given the humans enough warning. The human school will support Heavenly Emperor Fang's arrangements," Li Daokong suddenly said, startling many immortals. Why did the human school suddenly change sides? Wait! Could it be? The immortals looked at Fang Liang and Li Daokong differently. No wonder Fang Liang could become the Heavenly Emperor. It was because of Li Daokong. The Heavenly Emperor probably wanted to tie the human school to the Heavenly Court, so he chose Fang Liang? For a time, the immortals no longer dared to underestimate Fang Liang. Fang Liang was expressionless, but he was also very surprised. He had thought that Li Daokong was difficult to deal with, but he actually supported him. What happened? Was it the Heavenly Emperor's arrangement? 30 years passed. Hanju had a sudden thought. He felt that the Heavenly Emperor was testing him by telling him the truth about his fake death. Soon, the two of them entered a dream. The Heavenly Emperor did not panic when he saw the Dark Forbidden Lord again. Hanju pretended to be mocking and said, "Do you think you can hide it from me by pretending to die?" The Heavenly Emperor asked, "How did you deduce it?" "Back then, Zhu Tu also faked his death, but I made sure he died," Hanju said unfathomably. The Heavenly Emperor frowned slightly. He didn't suspect Hanju's words. With Zhu Tu's cultivation, it was indeed suspicious that he was cursed to death. However, after so long, Zhu Tu's fate had never been determined. It was very likely that he was dead. It was said that Zhu Tu's figure had appeared in the Nine Nether Purgatory, but he believed that it was a trap by the Golden Crow Divine Clan to lure the enemy in. It was the truth. After the cultivators of the Divine Palace entered the Nine Nether Purgatory, they never came out again. According to the disciples of the Jia school, they were all being suppressed by the Golden Crow Divine Clan. The Heavenly Emperor narrowed his eyes. "You want to target me? Aren't you the one targeting me? Then, what do you want?" "I want you to become my pawn." This was a method that Hanju thought of. If he didn't give him a motive, the Heavenly Emperor would sooner or later associate the Dark Forbidden Lord with him and keep targeting him. The Heavenly Emperor frowned, his eyes burning with anger. Hanju said, "Actually, I want to protect the golden age of the heavenly Tao that the Tao ancestor created. It's better for you to be my pawn than a sage's pawn." The Heavenly Emperor's expression changed drastically. Hanju ended the dream after saying this. Sometimes, the existence behind you can't be trusted, especially when facing the heavenly Tao. After returning to reality, Hanju was pleased with himself. The Tao ancestor was definitely the Heavenly Emperor's weakness. For the sake of the Tao ancestor, the Heavenly Emperor dared to risk his life against Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. At this moment, the Heavenly Emperor should have reached some sort of agreement with the Dark Forbidden Lord, right? The Tao ancestor has a favorable impression of you. Current favorability, 1 star. A line of words suddenly appeared in front of Hanju, scaring him. He quickly checked his interpersonal relationships. The image of the Tao ancestor was pitch black and was unique among his friends. Tao ancestor, cultivation unknown. Chaotic fiend celestial, the founder of the Tao, the will of the heavenly Tao, the ancestor of the sages, the eternal deity, the transcendent Taoist, the immeasurable Lord. Possesses countless Dharma avatars. A trace of his will in the heavenly Tao has heard that you are plotting for him and has a favorable impression of you. Current favorability, 1 star. Hanju's breathing quickened. Amazing! The Tao ancestor could even deduce what Hanju did in a dream? Could it be that everything was in the eyes of the Tao ancestor? The more Hanju thought about it, the more his blood ran cold. This was only a trace of will, but it was already so terrifying. Where was his true body? Fortunately, the Tao ancestor had a favorable impression of him, not hatred. Then again, the Tao ancestor liked to listen to flattery? No! The Tao ancestor should be paying attention to the Heavenly Emperor and happened to hear his heartfelt words. From the point of view of the Heavenly Tao, everything Hanju did was indeed protecting the Heavenly Court and the force created by the Tao ancestor. After thinking about this, Hanju felt no pressure. He didn't harm the Tao ancestor. What was there to be afraid of? He couldn't let his disciples talk nonsense in the future. The Tao ancestor was still alive. Even if it was only a trace of will, it was still an existence that was unimaginable to all living beings. Hanju secretly thought that he couldn't be fooled by this 1-star favorability. If he made the Tao ancestor unhappy, he might just die. However, the Tao ancestor should not be like that. The sage's plan was clearly targeted at the Tao ancestor's absence. If he was someone who would kill whenever he was unhappy, he wouldn't have fused with the heavenly Tao, much less create the heavenly court and the concept of immortal gods. Hanju stopped thinking and continued cultivating. Perhaps the Tao ancestor was watching him. The Tao field could block the divine sense of a sage, but the Tao ancestor was not a sage. But then again, the Tao ancestor was actually a chaotic fiend celestial. Did that mean that he was of the same generation as the giant god Pangu? Even if he hadn't died under Pangu's hands back then, he had definitely been defeated, or he had not participated at all. However, he had surpassed them later on, as expected of the Grand Master of the Seclusion Tao. 10 years later, Hanju checked his emails while cultivating. Your good friend Ji Xianshan was attacked by the True Dragon race, X10228. Your grand disciple Fang Liang has received guidance from your good friend Li Daokong. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Tao Sovereign has entered the deity realm of the ruins of End. Your good friend Zhou Fan has absorbed the true sun flame. His body has transformed and he is indestructible. Your good friend Dilan Tian was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure. Your good friend Duan Hongchen was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your good friend Xue Mingdi was attacked by your good friend Dilan Tian. Your good friend Tao Ancestor's Providence has decreased. Your good friend Tao Sovereign was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure and was severely injured. He was trapped in the Supreme Treasure. Zhou Fan was counterattacking again. Hanju no longer complained about his experience. Instead, he looked forward to how far he could grow. The Tao Ancestor's Providence had decreased. This was something worth thinking about. The providence of the Tao Ancestor was the providence of the entire heavenly Tao. However, with the immense providence of the Tao Ancestor, this decrease was nothing. Hanju continued reading. Tao Sovereign was beaten again. Serves you right. Bastard, you still want to drag me down. Hanju gloated and even wanted to laugh. Serves you right. Immediately after, he became worried. Would this fellow ask him for help again? The more Hanju thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. He continued to read the emails. The situation in the Heavenly Court was still good. After the Heavenly Emperor changed, the Heavenly Court was not surrounded. On the contrary, the Golden Crow Divine Clan and Longhouse Dragon Court seemed to have become everyone's target. It was also possible that they were the invaders and had a high screening rate. Ever since the Heavenly Emperor faked his death, Hanju had been much more relaxed. At least the Heavenly Emperor was halfway out of the calamity. After reading the emails, Hanju continued cultivating. It was really good to stay in the dark Forbidden Zone. It had been a long time since Hidden Sect Island had encountered trouble. The disciples of the Hidden Sect did not feel bored. They were all secretly competing. An invisible conflict surged in the Hidden Sect Island. It was worth mentioning that the reroll world in the depths of Hanju's soul had also been developing. As Hanju became stronger, the connection between the reroll world and the Heavenly Tao weakened. Hanju's divine origin dermic powers would divert a portion to support the reroll world. Unknowingly, Hanju seemed to want to eliminate the Heavenly Tao's effect on the reroll world. One day, the reroll world would completely belong to him. Under the management of the white-robed Buddha, the reroll world had always been flourishing. The world was also expanding, all thanks to Hanju's divine origin dermic powers. The white-robed Buddha rarely looked for Hanju. He also knew that unless there was something important, he couldn't disturb Hanju. After so many years, the Jade Pure Sacred Sect had already become the #1 holy land in the reroll world. Taoist Nine Cauldrons had long retired. The sect master had already changed 7 times. Some had died, and some had only retired to cultivate. In the entire reroll world, only the Jade Pure Sacred Sect had greater karma with Hanju. The white-robed Buddha was very sensible. 20 years later, Hanju was cursing Li Xianao when he suddenly sensed that someone in the chaotic domain was summoning him. It was unknown if it was Xiao Shenyuan or Tao Sovereign. Hanju put down the Book of Misfortune and entered the chaotic domain with his consciousness. He wanted to hear how miserable Tao Sovereign was. Tao Sovereign and Zhao Shenyuan were both there. Hanju smiled and asked, "The Heavenly Court has already changed the Heavenly Emperor. Who do you want me to find to save?" "You?" Tao Sovereign was furious. "What do you mean?" Do you really think I need saving? No need? Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. Dao Sovereign snorted. Who do you think I am? I discovered the Dao literature left behind by the Dao ancestor in the deity realm of the ruins of End. This is a huge opportunity. Hanju said, I'm not going. Really, it records a Zenith Heaven technique. No, I'm not going. Do you think I'm lying to you? Then, do you need me to save you? No need. Dao Sovereign was furious. Hanju was looking down on him. Zhao Xianyuan, who had not said a word, couldn't help but say, Brother Dao, stop pretending. I can't hold on anymore. Call for help. He looked at Hanju and said, We indeed discovered the Dao literature. The restrictions are too strong. We wanted to go back and call for help, but we were stopped by a Zenith Heaven expert on the way. He deduced that we had karma with the Dao literature. There was no need to say anything else. It was just a confession. Hanju said, You should tell the truth. I'm helpless. The current heavenly court couldn't save Dao Sovereign. Dao Sovereign said, You can think of a way to contact Li Daokong. He will definitely be interested. Hanju said, You can't always ask me for help, right? You have to pay something. Dao Sovereign fell silent. Zhao Xianyuan said, If we're saved, we're willing to share the Dao literature with you. Can we share it directly in the chaotic domain? Visit NOV CM for the L-test updates, yes, but not now. We haven't had time to comprehend it. After Hanju agreed, he hurriedly left the chaotic domain. After returning to reality, Hanju took out the Heavenly Dao token and started to use his dermic powers. After the Heavenly Emperor left, this token should have been given to Feng Liang. Soon, his divine sense connected. A familiar voice sounded, Grandmaster. It was Feng Liang. His voice trembled, clearly nervous. Hanju asked, How does it feel to be the Heavenly Emperor? Feng Liang smiled bitterly. Not good. I'm under a lot of pressure. Actually, I didn't want this, but... Sigh. He couldn't help but feel bitter. Hanju couldn't be bothered to ask. He directly told Feng Liang what Dao Sovereign had asked him to tell Li Daokong. As for whether Li Daokong would go or not, that was up to him. Hanju couldn't care less. No problem. Feng Liang agreed readily. He paused and asked, What's your relationship with Li Daokong? He admires you and hopes to see you again. Hanju replied, Help me thank him for his kind intentions. I'm avoiding the calamity. After the immeasurable calamity ends, I'll personally visit him and also go to the heavenly court. Feng Liang smiled and said, All right, I'll give you the title of Heavenly Emperor to master. Don't be ridiculous. I don't want it. That's all. Bye. Hanju hurriedly cut off the divine sense connection and continued cultivating. Heavenly court. Feng Liang came to Li Daokong's palace and told him about Hanju's request. Li Daokong asked curiously, Where is your grandmaster hiding? Why can't I deduce it? Could he be in the Nine Nether Purgatory? Or is it the Dark Forbidden Zone? Feng Liang shook his head and said, I'm not sure either. It shouldn't be the Nine Nether Purgatory. It's already in chaos. As for the Dark Forbidden Zone, is that place suitable for cultivation? To be honest, Dao Sovereign deserved to die. His talent was considered top-notch in the immortal world. Yet, he went around wandering. His death was not a pity. Jiangyi had already turned over a new leaf. When would Dao Sovereign be able to repent? He still had to come to Hidden Sect Island to change his ways. Hanju decided to kidnap Dao Sovereign in the future and educate him. He would become a member of the Hidden Sect in the future. The chaotic physique was qualified to enter the Hidden Sect. In the dark space, on the sun, Zhou Fan was frantically absorbing the true sun flame. His entire body had turned into a flaming man, but his eyes were still clear as he stared into the darkness. Almost. 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 Zhou Fan gritted his teeth and gasped. At this moment, a surprised voice sounded. You can actually absorb the true sun flame? How is that possible? Wait, why is the heaven-earth firmament cauldron in your soul? Di Lantian's voice was filled with fear. Zhou Fan said coldly, What? Are you afraid? Who are you? Di Lantian asked angrily. He appeared and looked down at Zhou Fan. He was clearly very nervous, and his body was trembling slightly. He was the leader of the Golden Crow Divine Clan, a Zenith Heaven cultivator. To make him so nervous, it could be seen that the heaven-earth firmament cauldron was not simple. Zhou Fan roared, I'm immortal. What? Are you afraid after seeing the heaven-earth firmament cauldron? Are you afraid? Di Lanua's expression changed. Zhou Fan tried his best to calm down. His expression turned sinister as he smiled. You want to resolve karma? Then give me the sun. I want more suns. Otherwise, you can forget about resolving this karma. Let's see if you dare to accept it. Killing intent flashed across Di Lantian's eyes. He asked, Really? Zhou Fan smiled and did not reply. Di Lantian suddenly raised his hand, and endless true sun flame condensed in his palm. It quickly surged into a huge three-legged golden crow. He waved his hand, and the enormous three-legged golden crow swooped down and swallowed the sun. Another 10 years passed. Hanju opened his eyes and started to check his emails. Your good friend Zhou Fan has awakened his divine soul. He has obtained the providence of the heaven-earth firmament cauldron. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Ji Xianshan was attacked by a deity realm mighty figure of the Golden Crow Divine Clan and was severely injured. Your good friend Li Daokong was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure. Your grand disciple Fang Liang was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your good friend Li Daokong has comprehended the Tao literature. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your disciple Hao Tian was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your good friend Dao Sovereign was attacked by your good friend Li Daokong and was severely injured. Only Zhou Fan attracted Hanju's interest. The other emails were not surprising. The heaven-earth firmament cauldron sounded impressive. If a Dharma treasure could show its name in the emails, it might be a heavenly Dao supreme treasure. Hanju asked curiously, why can Zhou Fan keep obtaining opportunities? 5 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? 5 billion years? What the heck? Wasn't this higher than the price for Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's information? Could this guy be a sage? Deduce. Hanju was shocked, but he still gritted his teeth and activated it. I want to see what this fellow is hiding. Zhou Fan, rank 3 Immortal Emperor, one of the sage's Dharma idols. He transformed into a mortal body in the cycle of reincarnation. His providence is hidden in the heaven-earth firmament cauldron. During his ascension, the heavenly Tao fused the heaven-earth firmament cauldron into the depths of his soul. Unless it is the heavenly Tao's divine sense, it cannot be seen. His true identity is the 7 Tao sage. Hanju was stunned. Zhou Fan was actually a sage's Dharma idol? No wonder his luck was so ridiculous. Wait! 7 Tao sage. Isn't this my good friend? After the lecture in the Great Ultimate Hall ended, 4 existences who were at least sages had a favorable impression of Hanju. Ancestor Shitian, Dijuan, Jade Bodhi, 7 Tao sage. Hanju immediately checked his interpersonal relationships. 7 Tao sage, cultivation unknown. Great Tao divine spirit. He controls 7 Great Tao and has experienced the Great Tao immeasurable calamity. He has lived in the deity realm of the ruins of End. Because you were praised by Ancestor Shitian, he has a favorable impression of you. Current favorability, pure stars. No wonder the 7 Tao sage had a better impression of him than Ancestor Shitian and Jade Bodhi. Could it be related to Zhou Fan? Hanju fell into deep thought. Since Zhou Fan's background was not Hanju's enemy, he was not worried. In the previous derivation of the future, there had never been news of 7 Tao sage. The Great Tao divine spirit was clearly stronger than ordinary sages. He probably could not be bothered to fight for the providence of the immeasurable calamity. This fellow had experienced the great Tao immeasurable calamity. What was a mere heavenly Tao immeasurable calamity? It seems that those people who can't die no matter what have great origins. However, it shouldn't be a coincidence that they landed in the same mortal world as me. Hanju thought silently. I want to know if the 7 Tao sage has any intention of harming me. 5 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Not for the time being. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. That's good. Continue cultivating. As the beings he interacted with became stronger and stronger, Hanju's sense of urgency increased. For an existence like the 7 Tao sage, Hanju's curse was definitely a breeze. Not only did his cultivation level have to increase, but so did the Book of Misfortune. In the 9 Nether Purgatory, Jie School. In a Taoist temple, Huang Zuntian knelt down respectfully in front of Jing Tiangong. Jing Tiangong smiled in relief and said, "It's been hard on you during this period." Huang Zuntian forced a smile and said, "I won't hesitate to serve the Jie School." He felt bitter. This sect was too troublesome. He had thought that he could avoid the calamity in the 9 Nether Purgatory. He didn't expect them to fight again. It was even more dangerous than the battles in the immortal world. Jing Tiangong said, "We have already reached an agreement with the Golden Crow Divine Clan. Next, I will return to the immortal world and ask the ancient mighty figures of the Jie School to help. From today onwards, you will control the Jie School in the 9 Nether Purgatory. With my sword as the token, no disciple will dare to disobey." He waved his right hand, and a bronze sword landed in front of Huang Zuntian. Huang Zuntian held his sword and frowned. "You plan to continue fighting with the Golden Crow Divine Clan?" Jing Tiangong said matter-of-factly, "Of course. If we can't even defeat the Golden Crow Divine Clan, how can we fight for the providence of the calamity?" Huang Zuntian's heart skipped a beat. Too uncomfortable. It wasn't over. Check out LTSDVL on NOVL bin. CM Jing Tiangong said with deep meaning, "This calamity is extraordinary. It might cause the heavenly Tao to reshuffle. Our Jie School has to grasp it. Besides, other than our Jie School, I've also contacted the Dark Forbidden Lord. We can't lose." Didn't he just lose once earlier? Huang Zuntian cursed in his heart. He felt that Jing Tiangong had gone mad. The reason why he could reach peace with the Golden Crow Divine Clan was that the Jie School had given most of the 9 Nether Purgatory to them. Now, the Jie School disciples had to squeeze into a small area. How could they maintain the reputation of a sage sect? "All right, you can leave. I'll leave in a few days." After saying this, Jing Tiangong closed his eyes. Huang Zuntian bowed and left the Taoist temple. After leaving, his expression darkened. Although his authority had increased, he was also in danger. This was not good. Hanju, who was cultivating, sensed that Xing Hongxian was using the invocation technique. He stood up and stepped into the black vortex. Next, there was another commotion that lasted for half a year. Hanju tidied his clothes and walked to the table to sit down. He asked, "How's the situation in the immortal world recently?" He didn't dare to rashly extend his divine sense, in case a mighty figure guarding the human race would immediately capture him. Xing Hongxian replied, "Negative karma pervades the world. The people live in misery. Not to mention the humans, the other races are even more chaotic. With the constant killing, it feels like the primordial era." Xing Hongxian sighed. She had long heard that the immeasurable calamity was very terrifying. She didn't expect it to be to this extent. She had previously gone out with a group of human cultivators and seen true mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Hanju asked, "Are the humans still going to continue fighting with the Heavenly Court?" "No, but the humans are clearly ambitious. I wonder who their next enemy will be." Xing Hongxian sighed worriedly. She walked to Hanju's side and sat down. She started to pour him tea. This tea was not simple. It contained connate qi. One had to know that Xing Hongxian was still a grand unity golden immortal, so she only needed immortal qi. To be using this so early, how extravagant was that? The human race really thought highly of Xing Hongxian. By the way, do you know Zhao Xinyuan? Hanju asked. Xing Hongxian asked in surprise, haven't you been in seclusion? How do you know Zhao Xinyuan? He's a peerless prodigy hidden among the humans. Like me, he has obtained the inheritance of a sage. Furthermore, he has an unprecedented chaotic physique. In my master's words, he's the person with the greatest hope of attaining the Tao below the heavenly Tao. Hanju shook his head and laughed. The heavenly court's Tao sovereign also has a chaotic physique, and he has yet to mature. Xing Hongxian smiled and said, indeed, I also think that he's bragging too much. Compared to my husband, who does Zhao Xinyuan think he is? You don't know how proud he usually is. He doesn't even look at us directly. Was he that arrogant? Hanju thought about Zhao Xinyuan in the chaotic domain. Why did he seem so aggrieved? Hanju stopped thinking about him. Instead, he stared at Xing Hongxian and said, try not to enter the calamity in the future. You can use the excuse of being a sage's disciple to cultivate in peace. The human race won't make things difficult for you. I know. Husband, what do you think of Empress Nuo? Xing Hongxian changed the topic and asked curiously. Hanju scolded. Don't talk about the sage behind her back. You should be grateful that you obtained her inheritance. Xing Hongxian stuck out her tongue and said in embarrassment, that's true. She wasn't stupid and immediately understood what Hanju meant. She didn't believe that Hanju really respected anyone. This fellow even dared to fight against immortals when he was immortal. Hanju was definitely afraid of the power of a sage. Xing Hongxian winked at him playfully. Hanju stood up and said, I'm leaving. Be careful. If there's any danger, use the invocation technique at any time. Xing Hongxian nodded, her heart filled with joy. She wasn't happy about Hanju's promise, but his attitude. Chang Yuer, Imoju, how can you compare to me? After Hanju left, Xing Hongxian smiled proudly. After returning to the Connate cave abode, Hanju didn't cultivate. Instead, he walked out of the cave abode and prepared to preach the Tao for the hidden sect. Seeing him walk out, the disciples stood up. The black-haired chicken suddenly shouted, Master, why do you smell like a woman? I think it's Xing Hongxian. She had the scent when she came out of your cave abode before. Hanju glanced at it with a cold gaze, scaring it. With a thought, the aura vanished. The others pretended not to hear. Prepare to listen to the Tao. Hanju's words excited everyone. Another lecture. This lecture lasted for several years. Every time Hanju preached the Tao, everyone in the hidden sect would gain enlightenment because his speed of improvement far exceeded others. After the lecture, Hanju continued cultivating. In the blink of an eye, 32 years passed. Hanju was getting closer and closer to the sixth mystic divine origin. The momentum of the world became more and more intense. Hanju's uneasiness increased. He wasn't in the immortal world, but he could feel it. Perhaps, he had already entered the calamity unknowingly. On this day, Hidden Sect Island suddenly shook as if it had been hit by something. Hanju was shocked. He opened his eyes and saw that it was absolutely dark outside Hidden Sect Island. He couldn't see anything. His divine sense was useless outside. Boom! The Hidden Sect Island shook again. This time, even the people from the Hidden Sect panicked. What's happening? Enemy attack? Don't panic, the sect master is still here. Visit NOV CM for the L-Test updates. Grandmaster didn't attack immediately. Could it be that there's a powerful enemy that we can't defeat? Senior Lubu isn't moving. Don't worry. Hanju asked in the cave abode, I want to know who attacked Hidden Sect Island. 2 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? 2 billion years. Hanju gritted his teeth and chose to continue. He wasn't stingy, but nervous. 2 billion years was still a zenith heaven. Inauspicious evil, the mysterious power of the dark forbidden zone. It is condensed from the grudges of the ancient chaotic fiend celestials. It hides the chaos and transforms into darkness. If you can withstand this for an hour, the inauspicious evil will retreat. An hour? Hanju frowned. Could the Dao field stop it? He could only wait patiently. Currently, the inauspicious evil did not invade Hidden Sect Island. It was only that Hidden Sect Island was shaking and looked to be in danger. Hanju sent a voice transmission to everyone, telling them to calm down. Hearing his words, everyone was relieved. Over the long years, Hanju had already become the pillar of support for everyone in the Hidden Sect. As long as he didn't panic, they didn't have to be afraid even if the sky collapsed. The collision sounds continued. Seconds passed. In the end, an hour passed and the inauspicious evil left. Hanju was secretly surprised. This inauspicious evil was only a power without consciousness? Previously, when he read the emails, he saw someone being attacked by the inauspicious evil. He really didn't know how that fellow survived. Perhaps there were strong and weak ones among them. Until now, Hanju didn't sense anything and only knew of their existence. This power was too mysterious. Even deity realm experts couldn't spy on it. The more Hanju thought about it, the more his blood ran cold. How many unknown and strange mysterious powers were hidden under the Great Tao? To prevent himself from being attacked by the inauspicious evil again, Hanju had no choice but to move to Hidden Sect Island. No wonder no one is hiding in the dark forbidden zone. This place is also dangerous. Hanju thought silently. After moving for a while, a line of words suddenly appeared in front of him. Detected bearer of Connate Providence, check its origin. Connate Providence? It had been a long time since Hanju saw this notification. He thought that this function had been abandoned by the system. He immediately chose to check. Strange deity, unknown existence. It has inherited the providence of the chaotic fiend celestial and has been nurtured for countless eras. It is about to become a spirit. It had inherited the providence of the chaotic fiend celestial. Amazing! However, this name looked very dangerous. Hanju's first reaction was to stay away from it.